This is Lisa from Life in Layouts, and today I'm back with Slayin' Snow and Cocoa. This layout is again from our Wisconsin trip, and it is the third layout that I'm completing with the same series of sketches from Scrapbook Generations. So that series of sketches is part of their Super Sketch Club, and you get 3 sketches and a paper line, and usually there's only 4 or 5 pieces of pattern paper, as well as the cardstock, so the white base cardstock that you need to put it on, and then some type of embellishment, whether it's a full sticker sheet or an embellishment paper pack or embellishment pack or something like that. So with the first 2 layouts that you guys have already seen, plus this layout, this kind of wraps up the paper that I used. I was able to get 4 sheets of paper between the 3 layouts completely done. Use lots of scraps. Again, you'll notice that pink arrow paper, it made it on all 3 layouts. I used that as what they would consider their striped or diagonal stripe paper, and the rest of it I followed the sketch pretty closely. I did not have a photo available where they suggested to put a photo, because you had 2 4x6s and 2 4x4 photos on the left-hand side. So I pulled out one of those cards I showed you guys in my giveaway video that I had purchased a pack of cards that went with the Snow and Cocoa kit. And so I cut it up into a 4x4 to use there instead of the photos. I distressed all of the edges in the Tranquil Teal, I think it's called. It's the same color that I had used on the previous layout as well. And this sketch called for 2 different pieces of pattern paper, basically what was left from the other pieces that you had in the other 2 sketches. So in this one I used that half circle paper as well as that burr paper. And then the strips of paper on the bottom and the top. And then I think it called for a banner, and that was the only paper that I used in these 2 layouts. I decided to go ahead and ink the paper before I put everything down, because I wanted that ink to show through and not necessarily just be where the photos are. So some of the splatters are peeking out of the photos, and I really like that. This snow paper had what looked like 2 pieces of washi tape already printed on the paper, so I decided to go ahead and mimic that with the washi tape. I added a black and white polka dot from my stash that was not a part of the Snow and Cocoa kit, as well as the one that has trees on it, and then I added a little pink tree chipboard to that tag as well. Now that my splatters are all dry, I am bringing them back in to start building my layout. Of course, I had to add a little bit of liquid glue to that chipboard, because we know chipboards don't stick very well. These photos are of the icicles on the house this is actually my nephew's grandparents' house. We had stayed there one day because it was closer to the airport, so on the very last day we stayed there. I have never seen snow. This past January was the first time seeing snow. I'm 37 years old, seeing snow for the very first time. And experiencing that as an adult and never seeing some of the things that we saw up there, it blew my mind. And these icicles were one of those things. We have icicle lights down here in Florida that we put up at Christmas time. And that's really cool to have that part of it, but to actually see the real thing. I mean, and these icicles were huge on this house. Now, granted, we had negative 50-degree feel-like temperatures, so I'm sure that the icicles are not always that big, but I'm so glad that we experienced that when we were up there, and I actually got to see what true cold weather and snow look like. I pulled out that jar that I showed you guys in the giveaway where I showed you all the stuff, and I think I figured it out. So I had to put the little piece of paper inside of it. They had like little tiny pieces, so I put 3 pieces of sequence in there, and I showed you guys that close up, and then I used the ribbon to tie around it. And I love the way that that looked. It was a pain to get that piece of paper inside that plastic piece. They sewed that plastic piece really tight to that jar. Now I'm adding this tag up there at the top that says snow 3 different times in those little circles. It did have a faux staple in it, so I went ahead and added another staple to it, so it has basically two different size staples, or what looks like 2 different size staples up there. And I went with the deer theme here, so you can see that there's the deer in the jar, there's the deer on that, what used to be a card, that pink piece, and I tried to pull out that transparency piece with the deer, but it just didn't fit anywhere because it was transparent. Like I needed a solid piece of paper or something, background paper, to set it on. And so I just omitted that and saved it for another layout. I'm adding a couple of snow pieces to the jar right there, and I did pull out my pop dots, or my glue dots. I'm really enjoying those. It's one of those things that I've had in my stash forever, and I haven't really pull them out. And then watching Heather's video for the glue dot dispenser made me realize I needed to get those out, and I am enjoying using those because things like that little snowflake, just having that little tiny dot right there on the end was really nice. On the left hand side, I added another little piece of chipboard that says "Oh dear," which is really my expression. Oh dear, these icicles are awesome. On this thicker sheet here, it had some gold hearts as well as these, I don't know if they're triangles or what they are. I used one, I stood it upright next to the snow. It kind of looks like a Christmas tree. And then I put one on the tag on the left hand side and pointed it sideways so it looks like an arrow. And so I liked both of the ways that those came out. I did go ahead and cover up that card there to say the wonders of winter, because I really like that sentiment as opposed to the one that was there. My title is Wow Icicles, and I decided that I needed an exclamation point after the word wow, so that's why I picked up those letters and added that. And that is it for this layout. I'm so excited to be on my 3rd layout, getting lots of these photos from our Wisconsin trip scrapbooked. I'm excited to be continuing along killing this paper pad, so stay tuned for the next episode of Slaying Snow and Cocoa. Here is my final layout as well as some close-ups. If you enjoyed this video, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up, I'd really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already and you want to see more double page layouts, make sure you hit that subscribe button because that's all you're going to get on my channel. Thanks everyone for watching, and I hope that you have a scrappy day.